Welcome back to the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast, the finest phototainment in the world. We are an irreverent look at photography. This podcast, like aspirin, will help you recover from your wedding hangover. So this is kind of a weird little thing. It's not going to be a full episode. We're just going to throw this in kind of like into the feed. But I'm here with my wife, Jennifer.
Heyo.
And we just kind of wanted to talk.
Oh my gosh.
It seems like people... It seems like people are a little bit panicky, a little bit worried about everything that's going on with COVID-19, or as you might know it, the coronavirus. And we've been seeing other photographers talk about cancellations. Jen, we just had like a conference that you're going to shoot for somebody else cancel on us today. And so it's affecting people and it's affecting our businesses. And so we just kind of wanted to talk through that a little bit because I think we're all a little bit worried about the future, and we're all a little bit panicky and a little bit scared because if a lot of people start canceling their weddings or other events that we're shooting, that would be a huge financial loss for all of us. So we're going to get all the panic out, all the hysteria out. You ready for this? Let's scream into the mic for a few seconds just to get it out. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I'm just screaming at the top of my lungs. That's what. Screaming.
Try that one more time. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, are we?
I got rid of
warming
it.
up our voices right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got rid of the panic, so I'm good.
Okay.
Are you good?
No, absolutely not. It just made it
I
worse.
feel a weight on my chest. Yeah. So, Jen, we've been talking about this kind of in the Wedding Hangover Facebook group, and people have been kind of processing their feelings, talking about what's going on with them. And so we just kind of wanted to share a little bit what's going on with us as we thinking about this, because we are worried about the future of our business. We're worried about how we'll be able to pay our mortgage, pay our bills and stuff, because we do have money saved up. But I don't think it's enough money to make it through as far as we feel like we need to make it through with all this going on. So,
and this is all hitting at tax season too.
It's great.
We're maybe like really great at making sure we're on track with it.
So, we just kind of wanted to talk through. A lot of people are talking about emailing their clients right now. And I know, Jen, you took it upon yourself to email our clients today, everyone who has a wedding from now until June. Would you feel comfortable just sharing a little bit about what you emailed those people about?
Yeah, for sure. I only laugh because after I sent it, I thought this was a mistake. But I think that I did the right thing. So I sent an email just to let them know what our policies were. If there was talks about potentially rescheduling the wedding, let them know that I'm more than happy to send them dates that I'm available if they wanted to reschedule. That I would still love to be a part of it. And my contract lays out what would happen if we were sick.
Mm-hmm.
I did not mention that in the email, but maybe I should have after we've talked about that. But I think that it's fine because it's in the contract. They can read the contract.
It's in the contract, and you talk to them about it at their initial meetings as well.
Yeah,
so it's something
sure.
They're aware of before getting to this stage.
So I let them know, said, hey, how are you guys doing? I don't know how you guys are feeling about wedding planning right now. I know your wedding's coming up, but I wanted to let you know that I'm here if you had any questions, if you had any concerns, even someone to bounce ideas off of. If you guys are concerned about the outbreak, then I just explained to them that if you are considering cancellation, then we can reschedule and what that would look like. I had someone who has a wedding in the future, like within 6 weeks from now, say, oh, people are canceling their weddings. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just made this girl even more stressed out. I did not mean it that way. I just wanted to be proactive. So I just sent her an email. I was like, yeah, I've heard from other vendors that this is happening, but it's not a common thing right now. It's just something that people are talking about. And for myself, I wanted to be proactive. I want my couples to feel confident in their decisions, and I want them to know where I stand. So I just wanted to make sure I sent all these emails out just in case that was a worry.
Mm-hmm. And the response from the few people you've heard back from so far has been pretty good.
Yeah. It was actually I was kind of relieved when they responded, and it was are people canceling their weddings? I'm like, okay, well, it's good that they're not really thinking about that. Of course, I want them to be prepared, and I want them to not spread the virus more. But I was like, okay, well, maybe we will have some sort of income this spring.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, my mind just kind of goes to the two extremes where it's like, oh, this will be great. We'll be able to spend more time as a family. I mean, trying to see the silver lining. Obviously, the situation is not great. And it's been heartbreaking to see everything happening and people losing lives and people losing these experiences and these events that are like once in a lifetime. But also just very concerned about like, okay, what is the very worst of what this could look like? And I think it's still survivable. I think that it's going to be incredibly difficult, and we'll have to make some great life changes or some financial changes, the way that we spend money, the way that we go out to eat, the things that we choose to make for dinner. Maybe we will have ramen days a lot longer than I was hoping. I think it's still survivable. And I think that is caused knowing what like the very worst could look like and being, okay, we can get through this. I felt a lot more confident going into this and a lot less stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a stressor.
So another thing that people are talking about in the group, which if you guys aren't in the Wedding Hangover group already, I would encourage you to join. There's a lot of really nice, friendly people in there who are all wedding vendors, and they're all talking about this sort of thing. And by all wedding vendors, I mean like 95% are probably photographers, and then there's a few other people who have come into the community as well. And one thing I would just say is some people are talking about like elopements and stuff like that, and because large gatherings aren't allowed right now, seeing if your couples would be willing to do like an elopement instead of just canceling altogether. And I think that is a really great idea. But at the same time, I think we have to remember not to try to like pressure our couples or put anything on them as far as like trying to force something on them because it's better for us in the short term. Because I think that could be bad for us in the long term as vendors.
Yeah, I think so. I do think it's important to address it and maybe just ask their like what their thoughts are, what they have been considering, and then instead of just saying, "Hey, have you considered doing this? Do you want to do this?" and they haven't even really thought about it, but just offering like your advice. Say if if you're having trouble making a decision, or if you need a professional opinion on what to do. I've gone through not something like this, but maybe some cancellations or other things that could be helpful. So just let me know. Not everybody wants advice, but I think it's important for us as professionals to be the professionals and to be the one leading in this situation. I know none of us have ever been through this, but it's so important for us to be the ones to be helping our couples and not just waiting for them to make the decisions.
And it's hard right now because we're all kind of reacting to the news and what's going on. And I think as a general public, we're kind of in a hysterical state right now. I mean, go to any grocery store near you in the toilet paper section and just see what's there. Like, there's not going to be anything there. I've seen all the photos from all the grocery stores
This
near
is
us.
something that blows my mind, though, because...
Okay. But just...
Sorry.
So I think people are reacting right now, and as Jen was saying, as professionals in the industry, like we need to be leaders, and so we need to be thinking about ways we can be proactive. Just simple things like we already talked about, like emailing our clients and just talking to them. Um, if you can in your area, talking to the other vendors around you. If you can, talking to other people on dates that you have weddings, and just say, hey, I have a wedding on this day. I know there's a lot of hysteria with the whole COVID thing going on. I'm a photographer, you're a photographer. I just wanted to see if, for some reason I became sick, like if you would be available on that date. Not like I'm pressuring you into making a firm commitment and not to help anyone else out,
Yeah.
but just it's better for us to be proactive in this situation and start reaching out and start making more connections with the people around us as we all kind of try to work our way through this thing. And I think in the long run, after this is passed, it would be better for us if we had been in a position where we had been proactive, where we had been helpful. If we can be a resource to our clients with any questions they might have about their wedding, about planning, about if they need to move dates or anything like that, just being there and being there for them. Whether that means like with helping them find new vendors if they move the date and some of the vendors aren't there, or whether that means helping them find a way to plan like a smaller wedding or plan an elopement or whatever, which we're not planners. So yeah, that's a little bit out of our comfort zone.
Unless you are a planner.
Yeah, but I think it's a
Why are you
good
here?
I think it's a good idea to be proactive and to be as much of a resource as you can to other people, because I feel like the more connections we make, the better we end up doing as a whole. Not just like me making more connections is good for me, though it is, but it's also good for all the people I connect with too. And the more we can bring people together at a time when we can't actually get together, it's a good idea.
Is that your t-shirt quote?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. The more we can get people together at a time we can't be together. It's a very lengthy t-shirt.
it's an extra long t-shirt. It's like goes to your knees so you can fit all the words on it.
Yeah, social media gatherings. That's what we're doing now.
I mean, weren't we already doing that? It's like the introvert mantra.
Yeah. So can you think of anything else that could be helpful for photographers out there? And guys, if you think of anything that we haven't talked about already, please jump in the Facebook group and share your wisdom, your knowledge, whatever you have, because everybody in the group will really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I know there's been a lot of things brought up and mentioned that I haven't thought about yet that have really just kind of like opened me up to new possibilities. Not panicky things, but like, oh, this is something I might want to prepare for in the future. One of the things I really loved in the Facebook group, Jen, you started a thread that was all about ways people could find to possibly make money during this time, especially if like, they have cancellations and stuff and they need a way to make money. And we'll be back in a second after a quick commercial break with just a little bit about some other ways you could be looking to make money in this time when you might not have shoots booked. Hey, and we're back, and I'm going to toss it over to Jen so she can share some of her ideas.
Just a couple of them. I had mentioned reaching out to past clients about doing some print or album sales.
Mm-hmm.
In desperate times, you might not get the exact price that you want for an album or for prints, but sometimes it's just if you are in a situation that you just need some extra income.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough situation too, because a lot of your clients might, if
they're impacted as well.
Yeah, if they don't have like a salaried position, or even some of them, if they do, like they might be let go during this time. They might just not be able to go into work if they're not at a salaried position, and they might have a loss of income then. So yeah, selling stuff and maybe cutting them a deal might be a really good way to make some more money.
Something that I thought about, this is not actually on the list that I put on Facebook, but doing something like Ship It, or is Ship It a nationwide thing, or is that just a local thing for us?
It's in a Target ad that I saw on Super Bowl Sunday, so
okay.
I assume it's national.
If it's not, what it is you hire people to get groceries for you.
Mm-hmm. Doing something like Ship It, Uber Eats, anything like that.
That, I think we are probably going to see an increase of that because people don't want to go out. While I was grocery shopping, I saw like 4 or 5 Ship It people, and I don't know, it might be an increase of people requesting to be employees of Shipit, but I know that there are people who do it for an extra income to be able to grocery shop for others and deliver those groceries. It's good because I mean you get paid an hourly rate and then you also receive a tip.
Yep.
So it's not a great amount of money, but it's something. And I thought this is probably going to be a good time to do that because people are going to really take advantage of that.
So taking advantage of the gig economy right now, which I mean, a lot of people who listen to the podcast already are. I know there are people who drive for Uber Eats and for Uber and for, what is it? Dine and Dash,
yes.
Drive Dash, it's another one of the food deliveries. DoorDash, there we go. Dine and Dash, the service where you eat at places and then run out before you have to pay. Yeah. People will actually go to the restaurant for you and do that for you now.
I mean, I did list some things that are photography related. There are going to be people who are still willing and able to purchase like educational stuff, but I know this industry is getting hit hard. I wouldn't put too much time into creating like new presets or selling things, but it wouldn't hurt to
sell stuff you already have. Yeah.
Things that you already have. Yeah.
And if you are isolated for a long time, just building up like educational stuff, if that's something you want to get into in the future, whether it's like tutorials and other things like that, this is a great time to take advantage of that. I know a lot of people are talking about marketing, getting their social media marketing game on point during this time, Google ads, Facebook ads, all that kind of stuff on point during this time. And I mean, I hate to say it, but like if you have like money saved up, if you're not going, like if you know you're going to be able to weather through this storm during a time like this, like there will be people who go out of business, which is terrible, but it's also a time when your business can grow if you're in one of those positions, which is a really horrible thing to think about. I know, but it is like a true fact of, you know, economies and capitalism.
I mean, what I would encourage people to do is to really take the time to pour back into your business, even when things are not great. So say if you're a wedding photographer, you have a wedding cancel, well, take that time that you were planning on shooting a wedding and learn a new trade, build up your existing one, go through all of the educational videos you've already purchased and have never watched. I mean, that's something that it's a a chronic habit of purchasing educational videos and never watching them. So those are things like find the silver lining in the situation, finding that you have more time to be able to invest in the things that you weren't able to do before. I know that it's not easy, especially if you're struggling with money, struggling with finances. But I really honestly believe that it pays off in the long run if you do invest, just say, okay, well, I don't have a wedding today. I'm actually going to catch up on editing, or I'm going to build some albums. I'm going to reach out to some clients, ask for reviews, reach out, make sure everybody's able to download their photos, maybe mention to them that you do have albums that are discounted right now. Something like that could really be beneficial because there's nothing you can do if they do cancel or if they reschedule. You can't change that event, but you can create something wonderful for your business.
And I know I kind of painted it with a very bad brush, the idea of taking advantage of an economic downturn. But if you are in a position to be able to hire people, like if you have that kind of money, if you're booking more people during this time, if your events aren't canceled, like that's also a way that you can provide work for other people in your area who might be more like sourly affected than you. So being able to hire somebody who maybe had like weddings canceled to be a second shooter for you, it's not, replacing a wedding for them, but it is super helpful to them. So think about that as well as like you have the ability when you make more money to help more people out. So is there anything else we wanted to talk about with this, or because I'm kind of tapped out on things I wanted to talk about? So I just wanted to check in with you because you're smarter than me.
You dragged me by my hair and
yeah. You're making it sound kinky and fun, but I'm joking.
It's been, I think that I'm just really burnt out talking about it in general. Just, it's been like, it's consumed our thoughts, it's consumed our vocabulary, and I am just really tired of talking about it and hearing about it.
So I think that's going to do it for us on this special episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast.
I really love
if you want to find us online, you can find Jenn at Jenn Van Elk on Instagram. You can find me at Stephen Van Elk. You can find Dustin, who's not here with us today, at Dustin_McKibben. And you can find the Wedding Photo Hangover at Wedding Photo Hangover on Instagram. All the good stuff. And as always, you can find us on Patreon. Just go to StephenDustinSaveTheWorld.com. And, I forgot the way the rest of this goes, and you took my phone away from me, so I can't look up how I wrote the ending out. I'm 140 some episodes
you're like
in. How do I not know
150 episodes in, and you can't remember it.
So thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you next week. When your limbs are aching, your whole body's a sweat ball. You've
got swamp ass.
You got swamp ass. You got that swampy ass, and your pits are just pitting out. Yeah, you got that stank. When you're recovering from your wedding hangover. Nailed it. Stuck the landing. Boom. I don't think that's a landing. Dang. But before we go, real quick, I do want to talk to you, Jenn.
Yeah.
About stuff that we love, because that was a very depressing thing to talk about this whole time.
I love being on your podcast. Thank you for letting me be on your podcast.
Jenn, so if you could share something good, joyous, fun with the people who listen to this podcast, what would you share with them? Putting you on the spot.
No, I was going to start talking in my Jessica voice, but...
What's that from, Jenn?
This is not something I love, but I watched Love is Blind, and I could not get over the fact that Jessica on Love is Blind has she has an alter ego. Mm-hmm. It's a baby voice Jessica. Call her Baby Jessica.
Now, I've never seen Love is Blind.
Like from the well.
Would it be like this? Is this a baby voice?
I don't know. Let me see if I can get it. It's like this.
That's the voice you do for my mom when she's teaching kindergarten.
This is what how I talk when I talk to guys. Like, I just want to make sure that I'm like an innocent little baby.
All right, everyone, we're going to be reading Cat in the Hat today. Followed by one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish.
You got to think about being a little baby when you do it.
Wah. I'm a baby.
But then you talk like this when you're not talking to a guy. You talk like this. So this is what's happening right now.
So you talk sexy when you're not talking to a guy? Okay.
No, I've got a little bit of sexy voice going on because I am raspy from a cold.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. Sounds so good.
Yeah. Like Phoebe. Got really good.
Phoebe from what?
Friends. I only watch television. I live through that.
Are you sure you're not talking about Phoebe Waller-Bridge from Fleabag?
She doesn't have a raspy voice, and I can't do her accent, so I'm not going to even try.
Fleabag's real good. If I could share something with the listeners, I finished BoJack Horseman recently.
Yeah, but let's go back to Fleabag. If you guys have not seen it, it's amazing.
It is amazeballs.
One of my favorites.
BoJack Horseman. Finished it. It's all done now.
Yeah.
You can watch it all on Netflix. And
Did you cry?
It is a very funny show. It's a cartoon about a horseman. And you hear that and it's a ridiculous premise, but it is one of the most emotionally moving things I've watched. And I found myself crying a lot while watching the show, like good cries.
It's your This Is Us.
No, because it's good.
This is BoJack Horseman.
No, this is something good.
You can't say that because you've never seen it, so...
Okay, but I just want to
highlight.
Never
seen it.
There's this beautiful episode in the final season. It's called "The View from Halfway Down," and in it, one of the characters is kind of going through he's about to die, is what's happening. And so the whole thing is like what's happening in the person's brain or in heaven or whatever you want to believe as they're dying. And it's just this really wonderful thing where like they meet all these other people from their life, and like it's all people who maybe they've wronged, maybe they haven't wronged, and they're talking to them and they talk about their lives and everything. And I cried so much during the episode. And there's one of the characters who died before, like this character, by jumping off a bridge, and he shares a poem he wrote called "The View from Halfway Down," which is what they titled the episode after. And I cried so much during that poem. It was so incredibly moving and like just heartfelt and emotional, and it just tore at me, and like it's stuck with me and I can't get it out of my head. But overall, BoJack is a joyous thing. But yeah, that was a very sad episode, and I do like those kind of like cathartic sort of moments in shows. Like they did another episode this season where it was like, what's it like to be a working mom? And like that episode made me cry several times too, because I was like, how did Jen do this? That sounded maybe like a little more sarcastic and jokey than I meant it to. I actually like was feeling those feels. So
no, I'm just thinking right now, like BoJack Horseman has made you cry so much.
yes,
Birth of Our Children, dried-eyed.
I cried both times when our children were born. You maybe don't remember it because like drugs and pain, but I cried.
Honey, there was no drugs. It was numbness and pain.
Numbness from drugs.
It's a black. It's yeah. Anyway.
But Jen and I are also watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine together right now and Schitt's Creek, and those are both very, very funny, and you should watch them. Everyone.
Oh, goodness. You sound like all we do is watch TV.
Everybody needs an escape right now from the horrors of life. I forgot that bit about the horrors of shooting another wedding. Oh, man.
Life is not horrible.
It is not. But sometimes it feels panicky and scary.
I think this time is a little bit, it's put us off schedule and we feel bad. But we're not talking about that right now. We are talking about the joys of life and the things that make us happy.
Like hugging my little baby daughter and just smelling her good hair.
No, she has been stinky recently. She's smelly.
Smells wonderful.
No, she does not.
Like playing Fortnite with our son and watching The Mandalorian with him. Good
more
feels.
Television shows.
Like playing Where's Elsa with my daughter, where we take Kristoff and Anna and search for Elsa who's hiding from us for hours.
Nora and I have been having dance parties downstairs, and I am really dancing like no one's watching when I'm downstairs dancing with her. You would think that I was putting on a concert, like a Juilliard concert.
I have a video. I secretly recorded it. No, this is actually the first I've ever heard about this.
We have dance parties all the time. You're just always upstairs. When you hear music playing downstairs, we're 100% having a dance party.
Nora is a bundle of joy. She loves to dance to Marshmello mostly.
And she loves to be chased, so it's a little bit of both.
Today, Moving On came on, the Marshmello song, and she yelled at me from across the room, Dad! Dad! It's my favorite song! Dad! 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 And then she just started dancing like crazy. It was wonderful.
We just bought a bike tow so that we can go on family bike rides. We have never done a family bike ride before. Mm-hmm. We've had Ian ride his bike while we walk, but we've never done family bike rides. And that's one thing that I remember as a child doing with my family, going on family bike rides. And I definitely want to do that with our kids. I hope that we get a chance to do that on our 4 weeks off.
4 weeks on, and also having our kids home full time.
And also having to homeschool them.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
So, I've made you talk with me long enough. I think we should say good night. Good night, Jennifer. Love you.
Good night. I love you too.
Welcome back to the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast. Oh, gosh. We're going to try that again. Welcome back to the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast. We're going to try that again. Wedding Photo Hangover was edited this week by Steve Van Elk of Bespoke Tone. Go to Bespoke Tone for all of your photo, video, and audio editing needs.